Bitcoin hits over $100,000 in value this week. What a trip waking up to see that number. But it reminded me, looking back, the history of this crazy thing called cryptocurrency, digital currency, blockchain technology, open source software. What a wild ride it's been. And so the year was 2011. The month was February. Bitcoin had just hit $1 in value. And not 2 years earlier, it was starting to be used as a form of currency exchange, officially released, quote unquote, in 2008, but 2009 was when it began, being used as that. And so I'll never forget the email that I received with an opportunity to purchase 1,000 coins. So it was $1,000 at the time of my life. I was a relatively new entrepreneur. Had just started dabbling and investing, and I was very curious and intrigued by this new blockchain technology. And there was something about that email that intrigued me, that drew me in. But I was also in a place in my life at that time, single dad, where $1,000 was a chunk of change for me. And so there was something that was pulling on me that said, you should do this. This may be a worthwhile investment, but the rule of thumb, those of you who have invested, is, if you don't understand what the investment is or how it works, you probably shouldn't do it or probably shouldn't get involved. And so, as curious as I was, I didn't pull the trigger. And, waking up 13 years later and seeing Bitcoin valued at over $100,000, had I pulled the trigger, and sold it this week, I would have made $100 million on $1,000 investment 13 years ago. And do you regret it, Caleb? At times I feel like I want to, but no, I don't, because I wouldn't be the person, I wouldn't be the man who I've become today. I wouldn't have probably had the learning experiences that I had. I wouldn't have made the relationships I've made, and I wouldn't have suffered some other significant losses, both monetarily, relationship-wise, and otherwise, that were part of the learning curve in this journey we call life, and self-progression, self-growth, self-awareness, self-determination, becoming a better version of myself each and every day. But it is a trip to think back and look at how quickly this cryptocurrency has come to the forefront. People love, the transparency of it, right? It not being controlled by the feds, if you will. And so it's interesting in the sense that, again, opportunity is all around us, and opportunity has ebbs and flows. It comes and goes, right? I think the biggest thing is learning to recognize when an opportunity presents itself. And at that time, like, as I mentioned, I was a very new entrepreneur, new in the world of business, and had just started working with a estate planning company that many of you have heard me reference. It's now 40 years old now, but again, it was a journey. It was a learning experience, and there have been other opportunities that have come out that I've capitalized on and made money on, and there's other things that look like opportunity and turned out to be a significant loss, unfortunately. But that is part of the game of life, the game of risk, learning to recognize an opportunity and not letting fear dictate whether or not we're going to take that risk and pull the trigger. And again, I don't believe anybody should put themselves in a situation where they can't afford to lose, whatever that figure is, whatever that number is that they're looking at risking. But at the same time, investing, taking a chance is going to stretch us, and it should stretch us. And some of the greatest entrepreneurs and most successful people in the world in business and finance and entrepreneurship and otherwise would tell you that, right? There is no reward without risk. And so again, the learning lessons, the experiences that I have gleaned in my losses, in my failures, have provided an opportunity to learn and grow, and to recognize that I can either allow fear to dictate to me, that would probably prevent me significantly, if not completely, from taking future chances and future risks. Or if I'm going to say, okay, everything happens for a reason. This was meant to happen. What can I learn from this lesson? And how can I grow as a result? And so we look at this emergence of technology. And of course, 2011, AI was very early stages, right? Just starting to come on the scene or whatever. And now today we see AI taking the world by storm, and Chat GPT and all these, other softwares and creations are now an integral part of our everyday lives, particularly, in the world of social media and business and entrepreneurship. And so we see these changes happening rapidly. I was in a call recently with a friend who's also a businessman and entrepreneur I've known for many years, and very well versed in the world of AI. And he said, Caleb, AI will advance at least another 10,000 times over in the next 4 years. And so that's wild to think about. And I remember even prior to 2011, being on the tennis courts with a retired individual. He was retired CIA and NSA. And he said, Caleb, technology is probably a good 30 years ahead of what most of the public has knowledge of. And that's wild to think about. And so fast forward to the present, we're approaching 2025, and AI is just taking the world by storm. So I've got a video. It was actually part of a training that I did this week called Courage is Calling. I'm going to be releasing it this weekend. But as we step into 2025, I really exhorted our team and encouraged them to place courage in the forefront. Let's put ourselves out there. Let's put our faith out there. Be willing to try something new. Be willing to try something different. Be willing to fall flat on our faces, fail forward, learn from our mistakes, but keep growing. So I'm really excited for you to see that. I believe that is a mandate and a mantra for us moving into this new year, to have unprecedented courage and just be willing. And in a time where all this new technology and AI can come across is very intimidating, right? And social media and going live, doing a video, all these different little things for a lot of different people are intimidating. They're not easy to do, and yet there is so much opportunity awaiting us by putting ourselves out there, by sharing our message, by sharing our passion, by willing to put ourselves out there in the service of others. And so I feel incredibly grateful as we close out the end of this year. Our team and our PPA organization is working hard. We're preparing a lot of new video content, working and prepping for a new podcast. And we just want to be able to help serve more families than we ever have in the previous years. And so the need is even greater than before. We were talking about a statistic, over 65% of American families right now are not comfortable where they are financially and do not feel like they will improve in the future. And probably upwards of 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now, hand to mouth. And so our desire, and it's what's the word, a vehement desire, is to empower as many people as we can and equip them with the tools and the resources and the strategies, and say, here's where you can go from where you are now to where you want to be. Here's how you can begin to create financial certainty for life. And what would it look like for you when that pressure is gone, when you've created a continual or multiple continuous income streams that are paying all your bills and giving you the liberty to do more with your family, be there more for your family, do more for others, and just the opportunities that arise when that freedom is there, that has not got you bound to, maybe your traditional 9 to 5 or a job that you hate, a boss that you disagree with, or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 by any means, but an opportunity to create more residual income by helping other people, by going, wow, here's a way that we can eliminate and get completely debt free in a very accelerated rate of time. Here's a way that we can start to build up our retirement, hedge up against inflation or devaluation of the dollar. There's so many unknown variables. And again, as much as people want to hope for the changes that can and some will potentially come with the new presidential elect, um, again, we all know how politics work, and there's a lot of promises made that aren't necessarily ever fulfilled, and we ultimately don't know what the economic future is going to look like. You know, we can definitely hope and aspire that it will be better than it was the past 4 years, absolutely, but we still don't know. There's always curveballs that are thrown to the mix. There's always unknown variables, you know, coming our way. So what are we doing to prepare? How are we recognizing these opportunities? How do we carpe diem, seize the moment right here, right now, be present in the moment? That's a huge thing that I would, you know, really emphasize with you all, is the fact that when you start to create these financial securities, these financial liberties, it takes so much pressure off your mind. And, you know, as a man, as a husband, as a family man, I'm constantly thinking about, you know, providing for my wife and my children. And, you know, what does that future look like? What is that future legacy I'm leaving? What does it look like if I was gone tomorrow? Have I taken the steps, necessary steps, to prepare and protect them moving forward? And that's, you know, that's a big thing about what we're so adamant about and why we want to help people, because fear is paralyzing. Fear causes us often to procrastinate and not do what we know we need to be doing to move the needle forward, to build a legacy, to protect our legacy, to protect our family. And that means having those hard conversations, right? It means talking about mortality. It means talking about the fact that we're all going to die someday, some of us sooner than others, and we don't know what tomorrow holds. There's no guarantees for the future. Talking about our money, right? Money mindsets. It's a big part of the educational value that we're going to be bringing in the PPA community, is coaching around mindset, being mentally strong, having abundance mindset, you know, understanding that there are a lot of money misconceptions, if you will, that we've been raised with that are just not entirely true. And if that, you know, you came to realize that, how soon would you want to know that? Right? Like yesterday, like right now, today. And so having those pressures alleviated, you know, as a man, as a husband, as a provider, allows me, and this is, you know, my personal experience, to be more present, to be more in the moment for my family, for my kiddos, right? And you know, many of you know what I'm talking about, male or female. A lot of us, you know, live in our heads a lot of the time, especially if you're a visionary, if you're a creator. Um, you know, those ideas and what can I do next and how can I do things differently? How can I create? If you're a builder, it's great, right? So we have to practice the art, practice the discipline of living in the moment. And when I recognize, right, I'm playing with my kids, I'm trying to give them quality time, and my mind is drifting to other things, or it's drifting to my phone, right, doing business texts, emails, whatever. Bring yourself back to present, Caleb. Refocus, recalibrate, right? Be present in the moment. Such a huge thing. And so when simple things like financial pressures and burdens are alleviated, it makes it easier for us to be present, to focus on being more in the moment. Again, it's a discipline, it's an art that has to be practiced, that has to be cultivated. So again, everything is a learning experience. You know, looking back at the fact, you know, I didn't pull the trigger when I could have bought 1,000 Bitcoin at $1. And, you know, what would that look like? Where would I be today? That's not what happened, right? We can't change the past, nor should we try to, nor should we live in the past, right? We look back and say, okay, that was a part of the shaping of the cultivating of who my character ultimately, right? And I look at how my character has been shaped in that journey since that time, and in many different ways, and much of it by, you know, loss and pain and grief. But how do we respond to these things, right? How do we rise above it, overcome, become the warriors who we are called to be by exercising perseverance and diligence, and just getting back up each and every time that we've been knocked down, and just choosing, right? Every day is a choice, just like love is a choice ultimately. Um, you make a choice. Am I going to become a better version of myself today? Am I going to choose to put myself out there, take a risk, capitalize on this opportunity, even if it doesn't work out the way that I hope? Even if I lose X amount of dollars in the process, what can I learn in the process? How will it help me to grow and, you know, ultimately fortify and strengthen my character over the long run? So anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys and encourage you, be looking for the Courage is Calling video coming out this weekend. Check it out. Be sure and, message me if there's anything that I can do to help serve, empower, encourage you further. We'd love for you to take a deeper look at the PPA community, see if there's any value there. We believe there's extraordinary value in community, period, especially when you're in a community with like-hearted and like-minded people who are there to serve and grow with you. What an unprecedented time we're living in. What an unprecedented opportunity we have out ahead of us to make the next year in 2025 the most epic and extraordinary year yet. And I believe a lot of that has to do with who we align ourselves with. So be mindful, be cognizant of who you're aligning yourself with, what kind of people. There's probably some relationships you need to let go of, walk away from, distance yourself from if they're not positive, that they're not helping you to grow, if they're dragging you down. And it doesn't mean burning bridges or cutting ties all the time. Sometimes it just means distancing ourselves and then pulling in the individuals around us who we want to grow with, who are where we want to be and where we currently may not be, so that we can all learn and grow together. But ultimately, that's what a community is all about. That's what a tribe's all about. That's what family's all about. And so I believe, we can have family outside our bloodlines, and we can have relationships with people who may be, more acclimated to our family than even natural family members. And that's okay. We need to find those people. We need to be a part of those communities, and we need to create that culture. That's a powerful thing. And regardless of where we are, right? Thrive where you're planted. It's not always easy to do. There's always going to be resistance. There's always going to be opposition, but it's so important that we be true to ourselves, that we remain authentic and transparent, and just stay true to who we really are. And that's going to attract the people of like heart and like mind. The more that we can do that, the more that we can be comfortable in our own skin, right? We're not all going to see eye to eye. We're not all going to see things the same way. We're not going to all like the same things, do the same things, whatever. But finding that common ground, finding those common things, and then finding a community that we can grow and excel and succeed with is powerful. So you guys rock. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Dig those heels in. Make a good push to become a better version of yourself as we close out this year. And let's have an epic 2025. We'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.